Hey everyone, welcome to another video review. This is the NewAge H27W Conquest / H28 Octavian, their Legends class version of Ultra Magnus. And you can see them there in this truck mode. We'll put that off to the side. Look at this box real quick. It is a very diaclone box with a, I think that's Chinese, not Japanese. Yeah, they has NewAge Legendary Heroes. You got the Ultra Magnus, kind of in a classic-esque artwork. You got number 20 Octavian right there. You got some product shots here on the top. City Commander Octavian, Legendary Heroes, all that stuff. On the side here, you have more product shots. On this side, you have the same product shots. On the bottom, you have, this is where it says Conquest for the white vert right here. The white robot's Conquest, the big one's Octavian. Got some stuff there. And on the back here, you have their Ultra Magnus Octavian fighting against their version of Galvatron and some warnings. I don't remember what this was. It Darius? I don't remember. I think it might have been Darius. Or was that the new? Yeah, whatever. Anyways, NewAge box art by someone and made in China, so on and so forth. He also comes with these instructions, which are decent, although kind of on the smaller side, and some of the steps do kind of are definitely on the bit on the confusing side, but mostly all right. But with definitely some I think improvements could have been made there. No. Yes, Octavian here. I'm just going to call him Octavian for the rest of this. But yeah, Octavian here is, well, of course, a truck with a car carrier mode. There's a car carrier mode thing. You can see him here. He's rolling. He can roll. Got little rolling wheels. He's got the car carrier. He's got the white cab with the red and blue trailer. Some whites here and there. He's got the little rockets and everything. White and red rockets and all that stuff. He's a truck. You can see his wheels are largely not. I don't think there's a bit of silver there, but largely those are pins that are giving the some of the chroming detail. You got bits of stuff. You can see some of the bits of the robot mode chilling out there. But yeah, you also got translucent blue windows, silver picked out for the grille and the headlights, a red bumper with a bit of silver there. You got some windscreen wipers picked out in paint as well. You got the silver smokestacks, and again, red and blue back here for the trailer and everything. The doors and all that stuff on the other side. And again, you can see the Ultra Magnus head popping out there. This thing being slightly askew. There we go. Yeah. One thing you can also do is these doors can open. If I can get my fingernail in there. Doors can open, I guess, although I guess his hands are kind of the seats. So the doors can open, which is kind of neat, but I mean, the only reason I feel that they're okay is because they're necessary for transformation, but whatever. It's not a big deal. I'm just glad that they're for transformation mostly and not necessarily because, we got to have doors. But yeah. So there's the thing. You can, of course, pivot here, although sometimes this stuff gets a little caught on these panels right here, but not too bad. You can pivot, and this also holds very securely. I can even do this, and yeah, because of how it works. Yeah, just as a point of comparison, I guess. Here's a couple of other NewAge figures I got. Their version of Shockwave and that Diaclone Iron Ride. I do not remember the names off the top of my head, but these cars are kind of scale a little big compared to the Semi, and on top of that, they don't actually fit. You can see that thing is hanging way over. They don't fit. You can't really squeeze them in there. You can open this up, which is nice, although those tend to come with it. But yeah, you can open that up. It doesn't quite reach the ground. And also, even this guy who can, it's just, they don't fit, unfortunately. You can kind of get that one to fit somewhat, but you're untabbing everything in the process, and it's not great. So yeah, none of the cars fit. Unfortunately, nothing here fits. So that's a thing. This is all for show. It doesn't really work. You can kind of balance stuff on top of here, but yeah, it doesn't really work. This is too tall. Yeah, it doesn't really work, unfortunately. So that's a thing, but unfortunately. Here is with Magic Square's Nemesis Prime, just for a point of comparison. Again, cabs are pretty similar size, although this one's slightly bigger overall. You can see, yeah, it's a bit bigger as a cab. It's a slight bit bigger, so you got that whole thing. You want, so they kind of they're mushy, but they're close-ish in scale, so there's that. And here he is, this core Optimus Prime from the Kingdom line, which actually these are closer, I feel. This may be a bit thin, but yeah, they're kind of actually much closer than I feel than the Magnus Square version. So this actually kind of scales pretty decently with at least core Optimus here. Although this core Optimus is, again, very kind of much a very thin truck, as I complained about before. So there's that. Now, this cab can separate. You got to untab these parts from each other and just separate that. And again, you got this cab here. There's no taillights back here or anything. You just got these silver bits and whatnot. So you got that, and this can be, operate by itself. This is just Conquest, I guess. But yeah, it rolls around. Decent. But yeah, it's pretty much the same thing. There's really nothing new popping up here from separating the trailer, but decent all right. And he does come with a couple accessories, but like none of them can store on the truck mode, except I guess if you just want to pile them up back here and pray that they don't fall out. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and transform this guy, and then we'll talk about the first robot mode. Yes, the robot mode here. Yeah, it's a pretty good looking robot mode, kind of. There's a couple things I nitpick about. I don't have a whole lot of white primes. I guess the only one I have is technically, well, the Siege version of Ultra Magnus. But yeah, he's decent looking. I mean, he kind of looks very prime-like. He's got a couple weird issues, namely this whole thing. I'll get into that a little bit, but you can see he's got a blue face, he's got his blue face mask with red eyes and everything. He's got the blue windows here, and well, you got the little greenish color things right there, the kind of teal, like on the arms there. You got this here, there you can see also, fortunately, yeah, it's a little scratch. That's from how it transforms. And you got gray legs and white legs and all that stuff. And you got detailing some gray there on the toes and some silver gas tanks. And back here, he's got the red panel and more gray and screws and yeah, all that stuff. He does pack together pretty well. I'll say that. He does very much pack together pretty well. The big thing here, unfortunately, yeah, is this thing. The double chest. A lot of people have talked about the double chest. And you can see there's the real truck cab is sitting there. And then you got this fake truck cab made out of the bumper sitting here. And it kind of reads, you can tell there's kind of, yeah, two chests there. And some angles it looks fine, like here, but then you start rotating and go, oh. The red bumper here kind of makes it obvious because you can see that line of red there. Honestly, it's not as bad as I thought it would be. I feel like at least from the promotional images, they might have changed things, tweaked things a little bit, but I feel like the Optimus was actually worse about this because these lights right here are not picked down paint, so they kind of blend in a little bit versus these ones have the silver on them. So I think this blends a little better than the Optimus does, but then again, I heard they changed the Optimus so these no longer have paint on them, so they blend better for the robot mode. But it's not ideal, but then again, at the same time, it kind of bugs me, but at the same time, it's not as bad as I thought it would be. And then also, this is not the mode I'm going to have it in most of the time, so it doesn't bother me as much as it would have on an Optimus, which why I'm not getting the NewAge Optimus. I'm probably going to get the Magic Square 2.0 version. I think I'm considering it, although it is kind of spendy. They're both kind of spendy. That's the kind of general problem with these guys anymore. Yeah. And this another thing is these sometimes you can kind of see this feels all really wobbly down here in these ab pieces and the waist and everything. It just feels like it's too easy to like knock this out of alignment and yeah, it's stuff. It's supposed to peg in and everything, but doesn't really do a super good job, partially because the peg is super shallow, so it doesn't peg in super well, and it kind of disappoints me. And it doesn't quite sit right. I've never been able to get it to sit 100% correctly. It's always juts out just a tiny bit, which is a little disappointing, but it's, again, forgivable for me just because this is not the mode he's going to spend most of his time in. Yeah, this is where some accessories can really come to play. He's got the good old, the classic black rifle, which, pegs happily into his hands. So you got that. He's got a couple other rifles, which again, I think those are more for the Magnus mode. So you got that. But yeah, he's got this rifle, all that stuff. He does have swappable hands. I think then they can work in this mode. They also work for the other mode. But I'm going to show them up. Well, at least one of them off here. You got like this one. You got they come on sprues. So you have to cut them off the sprue, right? You have to cut them off the sprue here. And there's this one. It's got the pegs and stuff. It's just a simple case of, pull the other hand out and peg the other hand in. And there you go. You got that whole thing. And yeah, they're pretty much, the hands are largely the same for both is robot modes, so they're working either one, which is nice. At least they thought of that. Although you have to, transform, of course, you have to swap back to the fist. So just an FYI on that. Show the other hand in the other mode, I guess. But yeah, articulation in this mode, his head is on a ball joint, so you got left and right. You got up and down, a lot of up actually, lots of up, and I think a paint scratch. That's not a scratch, it's a bit of extra silver, weirdly enough, on his chin. Yeah, you got that. So you got lots of them down. You got left and right. You got decent amount of wiggle. Not a whole lot because of the head shape, but you got a decent amount. Shoulders can go all the way around. You got outward right there. You got this, I guess. That's transformation joint, but you can do that, I guess. I'm not sure what for, but you can do that. He does have a bicep swivel, and of course you can see his elbows ran just a hair over 90. We're talking about like 91 degrees. His wrists do swivel because they're just pegs. So you got that. He does have a waist joint. Left and right, ab crunch, which again, unfortunately with the ab crunch on this guy, they has a tendency to kind of unseat the stuff unless you do it right, but he does have an ab crunch, and you do have lean back as well, although again, you're getting kind of exposing stuff. So there's that. This gets out of the way so you can use the hips, which, forward all the way and back. This gets out of the way too. So back all the way, outward all the way. All this skirt stuff gets out of the way, and then you got thigh swivel. And I guess you can use Ultra Transformation if you really need it. You can bring this down, I guess, and that doesn't really help that much, but I guess you could possibly help, but you can bring it down if you want. You might be able to figure out a pose that uses that. Knees, they do have a double joint, so there's that, and it's a pretty decent one. Not the best, but, it looks decent enough because of this part coming out. You got that. And ankle tilts, they go very far, okay, thanks to transformation. And then you have forward tilt, not a whole lot of back unless you start tilting it, but even then there's not a whole lot of backwards tilt. And then you got the toe can swivel as well if that's useful for anything. So yeah, decent range of posability in this particular mode. All right, as a point of comparison, here he is with a couple, again, NewAge figures, which, yeah, they seemed about right size, I guess. If this was jazz, makes sense. This was, jazz and stuff. This would be about right, I feel. Ish. Somewhere in that range, He's got that. Here's with the Core Optimus. Again, noticeably smaller here. This thing gets much bigger. So yeah, this is kind of a bit of a different scale going on here. And here he is with the Magic Square Nemesis Prime, which, yeah, roughly the same height, actually, almost. This one's a little shorter. Roughly the same height here. This is definitely easier to transform than this thing. If you want a simple transformation out of your Legend Scale Optimus type figure, then maybe consider the old Magic Square. Probably people are going to sell them for the Magic Square version 2 and all that stuff. But yeah, so yeah, if you want simple transformation, yeah, the old Magic Square version 1 is probably your best bet, or one of the other Optimuses or whatever. But this is not a bad looking figure. It just has a couple little problems here and there. There. But we've got one more mode to go for, which is the full Ultra Magnus. So I'm going to get that ready to go, and we'll talk about it there. And yep, there is the full-blown Ultra Magnus armored up mode and everything, the one that most people are familiar with, except for the people who just really want that in their core Optimus, which, you know, this does deliver on. But yeah, he is very cartoon accurate in this mode. And pretty cartoon. Yeah, he looks pretty good. There's a couple little things people are freaked out over, I guess. Namely, those arms are just chilling out there with the fists exposed and everything, which some people are kind of upset over, to say the least. This keeps sitting weird. There we go. There we go. That's better. Yeah. Yeah. So people don't really like that. I don't mind personally. I don't think it's a big deal, but I think someone actually came up with the idea of basically more or less twisting these fists around and then like getting like 3D printed panels or something to just kind of insert over that, which might work. I thought about that. Might actually work, just having little white panels or something, just, or red ones, whatever you prefer, just to cover that up if you don't want to see the fists at all. He does have some of the, you know, good old thing, like this is just a panel. Like Magnus does have this on the back in the cartoon, although here it's kind of, mine never sits right. It doesn't quite sit flush. Like I think it's supposed to sit flush, but it doesn't. And of course you can see, yeah, there's just no like white or blue or anything back here. It's just, you can see the gray of the under robot's legs. So Octavian here unfortunately has that little thing. Also mine, this has this whole waist piece thing has a tendency to just kind of undo itself very easily. It doesn't take much to undo itself, unfortunately. That kind of stinks. So but yeah, looks good. Kind of has that weird puffiness that Magnus often had in the cartoon. You can see, not, you know, kind of rounded off edges and whatnot on his torso. And yeah, you got all that stuff going on, and yeah, you got kind of a bit of messy backside, but honestly, I think from here it works. Yeah. Again, details and stuff, like, you know, you can see, again, he's got the big old blue eyes. He's got his antenna and whatnot. Someone reported that their antenna was scratching really bad. Mine, I've transformed mine multiple times. I have yet to see any scratching on my antenna, so I think mine's fine. I think that was a one-off, just QC error. But yeah, there's definitely paint scratching on this crotch, I guess. But yeah, again, looks, you know, got kind of a couple different shades of red here on the chest. And yeah, the whites and blues and everything and all that stuff. And it looks really nice, I feel. He's also pagan. And they are keyed in such a way that you can only put them in one's way, so the tabs are nice, at least on the bottom of the shoulders. And this, yeah, all that stuff's up on top. Kind of hides those a little bit. But yeah, posability in this mode, he's got a ball-jointed head again. You know, it's largely the same, yeah, but ball-jointed head, ups and downs. Not a whole lot of wiggle again because of the... Well, there's a little bit of wiggle. There's actually quite a bit more, I think. I think there's more wiggle here than there is in the base robot, so there's that. Just be careful with those antennae. I guess mine started to bend a bit, so just be careful of those. Shoulders can do a full 360 easily. Outward is not really that limited. You get this part, and then this goes out further, so you get a full straight out with this bent bit. Do have a bicep swivel. Mine's a little loose on this side. Elbows, full curl, which is better than the base robot, and the wrists do swivel, although I think they're a little limited outward anyway because of the molding, but inward they get about that much because, again, molding. Waist swivel still intact. The ab crunch is also still intact, although it's a little more limited thanks to just more parts banging into each other, but you do have a bit of a waist crunch or ab crunch. And again, though, unfortunately, mine, this is one big thing. This always likes to come untabbed when you start messing with the joints down here. Okay, it's actually not as limited as I thought it was. It's just I had to pull it out further. This joint is very tight, which is nice, although sometimes it feels like it's a little too tight. But yeah, down here, of course, these skirt pieces can all get out of the way. Again, with this one as well. So again, and this one, so you got, you know, still mostly, although it doesn't go as far forward because of the new thigh pieces, but it still goes pretty far back. Outward again, little limited, but again, not too bad. It's barely noticeable difference, but these do add a little extra thickness there. Of course, getting everything all back down is also a little annoying because now you have to fold 3 extra panels. Still has the thigh swivel, knees. The double jointing is now, unfortunately, the double joint is now, it's still there, but it's now only got that much curl because, again, of all the extra armor, but it's kind of the sacrifice you have to make. And the feet still, thankfully, there is still a tilt, although it's a weird looking one because it breaks the sculpt in a weird way. So what happens is, and you can also see the toe from the other robot, but you still get a lot of ankle tilt. It's just kind of weird looking if you go too far. If you go much beyond this point, it starts to look a little weird, but it's still there. So there is ankle tilt and stuff. And most of the posability is preserved, and some of it is improved, but also some of it is noticeably worse. So kind of a bit of a wash on that front. And again, that's one big problem. Just this. Okay, something's going on because now something's leaning backwards. I don't know why. There we go. It started leaning backwards. I don't know what that was about. Yeah. Again, accessories though. He's got 2 white guns. I believe this is the more toy-like gun. This is a gun I believe he had in the movie once. I believe when they crashed the shuttle, his gun looked more like this. So they can include 2 white guns. They both, pagan happily. Again, unfortunately, as far as I can tell, there is no alt mode storage for any of the guns. So you can, dual wield if you want. You got a whole thing. That's nice. That's all I want to do. Well, actually, it works anyway. Because again, the other hand, he's got a set of pointing hands. You can see that. Again, so you can point. He can point into things he wants other people to deal with instead of him. Yeah, they got that whole thing. So you got all of that, which is nice. Yeah. So yeah, a couple of nice little accessories here and there. Overall, a couple little limitations, but on this one, or for whatever reason, this forearm doesn't like to always tab together. Right now it's fine, but sometimes it likes to pop itself apart real easily. I don't know why. On one other accessory, of course, very important one, which I kind of intentionally glossed over in the other robot mode, which this, you can open that up, and this is kind of difficult to get in. You can open that all up, and right in there, you got the matrix, which is a pain in the butt to get out of there, by the way. It's a really huge pain in the butt to get out of there, and yeah, it's in there pretty good. It's in there really good, unfortunately. There we go. Got it out. You can see that. It's nicely painted. It's got silver and the gold and the blue. On this side, it's just silver, unfortunately. This side's just fully silver, but the front side is fully painted, so there's that. And it does open up, and yeah, that was the one thing people were complaining about. Now there was that you can see the clear, just the outlines on the chest piece for the matrix chamber instead of Optimus, which is the full front. The whole thing opens, but this one is just a little piece of it. So there's that clear seam line on the chest, which again for me isn't the end of the world because I'm not going to have him in that mode a whole lot, but it upsets some people. So there's a thing, and this does all close up nice and tight. So there's that. So that's seam line. So it's a thing, but it is what it is. I don't mind the extra seam lines because I'm not going to have them in that mode very much, but some of you might be upset about that, and it's a valid complaint. More comparisons, same vehicles or same trucks, same figures as before. NewAge, he's significantly taller here, so yeah, NewAge guys. You got the core Optimus, which is even more shrimpy now. And, of course, the Magic Square, which isn't that much shorter. It's always that weird thing of how much taller should Ultra Magnus be over Optimus and blah, blah, blah. But I think this looks pretty decent. So I think the Magic Square 2.0, which I'm going to get for Optimus, I think is going to look pretty good against this. So it's one of those things where I feel like this is one of those times where the weird size difference between NewAge and Magic Square is kind of largely erased. So there's that. So, Octavian / Conquest here. Is he worth it? Well, here's the thing. Domestically, he's about, I think it was $110, $115, or was it $120? Oh, wait, no, I think Chosen Prime was actually charging $125 for him, if I recall correctly. A lot of money. Yeah, it was like $125 for like domestic. I got him off Show Z for about $85. For $85? Yeah, for sure. If you can get him from one of the for under $100, I think he's definitely more worth it. He's got a lot of complex engineering, and he's got 2 full robot modes, and he's got they all look really nice. The only thing is a couple. I think the white I think the inner robot is a little more compromised for the sake of the bigger robot, but I personally don't find that to be an issue, but other people might. They might want to display in the white robot mode more often. They might find those issues upsetting, but there you go. But yeah, he's very complex. He's got a lot of pretty clever engineering, although sometimes it's a bit fiddly just because of the scale. He looks great in most of the modes. The only thing is, for me personally, I had got a bit of paint chipping on the inner the smaller robot's crotch, so that's a thing, and that's probably a very common issue. He's only got a handful of accessories. He's got 3 guns and a couple of extra hands in the Matrix. But I think overall, because the transformation is pretty clever and he works really well and he looks really good, I think considering the sheer amount of engineering that went into this guy at this scale, I think $90 is pretty much worth it. But once you start creeping past 100, it starts becoming a bit of a hard to swallow number. And I would feel like you should probably skip it if your only option is a domestic retailer charging more than $100. But if you can get him under 100, for sure, I think he's worth it. And there's, of course, the Ultra Magnus variant, which a lot of people are really loving that version. And that's roughly the same price, maybe, and whatnot, with different coloring. And a lot of people have been really jumping on that and really liking that one. So you have kind of at this point, 2 different choices for this particular mold. And the other thing is, if you're trying to figure out about the Optimus, I know the Optimus has a completely different leg transformation. I know that for a fact. For whatever reason, their Optimus has a completely different leg transformation. And then their Nemesis and Shattered Glass Optimus version are based on this version of the mold, but also have new tooling in like the crotch area. So there's that. Yeah, I personally find him worth it for the price, but so others may beg to differ. But yeah, he's only got a few minor flaws in my opinion, and nothing to really hurt me. But I would have been kind of upset if I spent over $100 over it. So yeah, definitely buy him for under $100, but no more. I feel like the domestic price is a little too much. So that's it. I hope you found this review informative and entertaining. I hope you like, comment, subscribe. Check out my Twitter. I'm at Nemesis Prime 1, and check out my coffee and my Patreon. And I shall see you next time with another video review.